Hey everybody, welcome to another installment of the Booze Briefing. This is where I get to answer your dumbass questions about Joe's The Cold War Diaries Volume 1 and 2 that go to help a great cause, American Gold Star Mothers. Remember, every book we sell on Amazon helps raise more money and awareness for Gold Star Mothers. So we've got a cool show for you today. Couple of things before we get into some of the questions and stuff. Pour of the day. The pour of the day, oh no, Scott. More bib and tucker? No, more fib and fucker. Look at this. This isn't just regular bib and tucker. This isn't your grandpa's run-of-the-mill bib and tucker. Or is that my grandpa? I'm not sure. At any rate, this is the Tennessee 10. 10-year aging on this with notes of vanilla and toasted oak. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Aged for 10 years in the hills of Tennessee. Well balanced, 92 proof, so right in my wheelhouse. Pretty excited about this. Let's go ahead and go. Per the usual, let's get it poured and I can get the damn thing open. Son of a... Hey, yeah, here we go. All right, we'll get this open. Oh, there she blows. Okay. Look at that. Now, I'll be really curious to try this because we reviewed the regular bib and tucker, which I think was rebranded to the Classic 6-year, the Classic 6. This is Tennessee 10, better than 6. And I reviewed the Double Char, which became my favorite. Now I can't find it anywhere. So I'll be curious to see how this goes. The challenge is still ongoing. Obviously, in the last 3 or 4 days, we have not reached 10,000 subscribers. We've got a long way to go. All right, but remember, the challenge is still out there. 1988 potatoes au gratin, MRE, in the cardboard sleeve still. I'm going to open this bitch up and give it a go if we get to 10,000 subscribers. My doctor will thank you if we don't. If we don't get to 10,000 subscribers, either on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. So do me a favor. Do me a favor. If you're watching this, even if you have you watch 10 minutes of it and you're like, or 10 seconds of it and you're like, I don't want to watch this bullshit. Fucking subscribe anyway. Get us to 10,000, okay? Yeah, more money and awareness for Gold Star Mothers. I'm telling you, do the right thing. Do the right thing. We got 2 questions today, but first we have the mailbag segment.
You've got fucking mail,
Time
bitch.
for the mailbag segment. This is from a gal. Let me get the second part of this. This is from a gal named Olivia. It's probably some like 45-year-old dude living in his parents' basements. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Here we go. Email I got. Subject: disgusting and disrespectful to our troops. Really? Mr. Burkett. You know it's going to be serious when it's Mr. Burkett. I purchased your book, Joe's The Cold War Diaries Volume 1, after seeing it recommended in a Facebook group for military humor. Okay. Which frankly should have been my first warning. I'm already seeing a disconnect here. What I encountered instead was page after page of vulgarity, check, immaturity, check, and what I can only describe as a complete lack of respect for the United States Army. I am specifically referring to the story 2 Men and a Penis Pump. I want you to know that I had to put the book down and physically walk away from it after reading that story. I was genuinely nauseated. Nauseated? I kept asking myself how something like that was allowed to happen in our military, and more importantly, why you felt the need to glorify it. My husband almost joined the Army in the late 80s, but decided against it because, he didn't want to become that kind of person. That's in quotes. And after reading your book, I now fully understand what he meant. Oh boy. You portray soldiers as crude, irresponsible, sex-obsessed adolescents instead of the disciplined heroes who defend our freedom. Damn, I'm turning on page 2. I feel like Paul Harvey here, page 2. She goes on. You seem to think it's funny to describe sexual devices, filthy barracks behavior, and grown men acting like middle schoolers. I did not find it funny. I find it embarrassing to our country. Young people might read this and think this is acceptable behavior, or worse, that this is what military service actually looks like. My father served stateside during the Cold War era, and he would have been ashamed to see his service reduced to bathroom jokes and locker room nonsense. The Army is about honor and sacrifice, not whatever this was supposed to be. I guess she's talking about the story or my book. I hope you reconsider what kind of message you're putting out into the world. Not everything needs to be shared, and some stories are better left untold. I will not be finishing the book, and I will be warning others. Sincerely, Olivia. Well, let me see for a second here. I've got I always have up here with me the printed out table of contents from both books, just so I can refer to as a reference tool. So let's see, 2 minute of penis pump. Okay, so you got a third of the way through the first book. Maybe just props for that. What can I say? The Army has 250 years of excellence, unimpeded by progress, of course. That's kind of our unwritten rule. Young soldiers do foolish things for the same reason that puppies chase trucks. If you really think about it, they're full of energy, short on judgment, and convinced nothing bad is about to happen. So, as Axl Rose once said, if you don't do stupid things when you're young, you're not going to have really great stories when you get old. I know that you said your husband almost joined. That doesn't count, for starters. That doesn't mean, that means jack shit, really, at the end of the day. It's like saying, I almost became an astronaut. Well, I thought about it, but I didn't do it. No, I don't get to talk astronaut shit, okay? You got to understand, man, and I'm not, I really shouldn't even justify this question, dignify it with a response. But I think it's important, the stories in these books show what it actually was really like, certainly in that era, overseas, not stateside, like your old man. Look, props to your dad, right? He served, he wore the uniform. That's great. His experience was his experience. His experience was stateside. And anybody that was stationed stateside versus overseas will tell you, totally different, okay? Totally different. You get 18, 19, 20-year-old kids predominantly overseas, especially if you were on the DMZ in Korea, or anywhere in Korea for that matter, or if you were in a forward deployed battalion or brigade in West Germany at the time along the border, you balanced all of that time you spent in the field and doing gunnery and things like that. You balance that with silliness. That's just what happened. That's just what happens. Probably still happens today, even though, we don't have as much of a presence in Europe anymore, but not compared to what it was back then. The whole if you read the first third of the book, the very first story lays it out in a foreword by my buddy Sean Mack. Okay, Sean McLaughlin. He tells you in there, the 2 a.m. duffel dragging your shit to the motor pool to roll out because there's an alert. You're still hungover from decompressing the night before. It adds up. You have to balance that, man. Especially, look, career people in their 30s, 40s, even into their 50s have a hard time striking a work-life balance. Imagine your life is all about work, okay? You wear the uniform. You're always on call. You're always on duty. It never goes away. If there's a problem, you got to get your shit together, whether you're sober, drunk, hungover, doesn't matter, okay? That's an awful lot of responsibility to throw onto a young man or woman and their 18 to 20, 22 type range. It's a lot of responsibility. So you have to balance it. Otherwise, you'll go batshit crazy. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? You've got to decompress. So sorry you didn't like the story, but sorry you're going to champion a cause. I'm going to write a strongly worded Facebook post. Have at it. Have at it. Because anybody who wore the uniform is going to read your strongly worded post and go, I need to fucking buy that book. Or books in this case. So, at any rate, that's the mailbag for today. All right. So let's move on here. Let's get into the drink here. We got a couple of questions. A couple of pretty good ones. Well, 1.5. I'll let you decide. This is the 10-year, this is the Tennessee 10 Bibb and Tucker, 92 proof. Well, I tell you, Bibb and Tucker really does a good job with the hints and the notes and the stuff they tell you. I mean, I can actually taste it. It's very similar to the double char. I can taste that oak. I really can. Don't know about the vanilla, but then again, I have just a couple of simple rules. Does it smell like bourbon? Does it taste like bourbon? And did it have the proper medicinal effects? I'm going to give this 3 check marks. There we go. I like it. All right, so the first question today is from, I don't know if this is Major General Triple Score. It's MG Triple Score. It's a weird name, isn't it? Because a Major General, remember Be My Little General? Those of you who are, maybe they still probably use that acronym today, the little mnemonic to learn the Brigadier, Major General, and so on. Be My Little General. So, MG Triple Score, where did the term Joes come from? Well, this person is clearly not a Major General because they would probably know the answer to that. In the first book, I tell you, maybe you only read the second book. Who wrote the MG Triple Score? So, yeah, maybe you just read the second book. In the first book, I have a mention of that in the introduction. It was recorded, I think, in 1941 initially. And Eisenhower, I think in 44, 45. Yeah, I mean, Eisenhower, 5-star general, future president of our country, made it permanent when he said the truly heroic figure of this war, meaning World War II, is G.I. Joe and his counterpart in the Air, Navy, and the Merchant Marine of every one of the United Nations, G.I. Joe. It's sort of like the every guy back then. You think of Joe as, of course it's a man's name. It's an every guy. The military is a melting pot. Probably more so than any other industry in the country. It is a true melting pot. You have every religion, every persuasion, every race, every creed, the whole nine. Everybody's in there together. Yeah, you might have more of one group versus the next, but you're all in there together, and you don't have a choice but to get along. It cures a lot of guys of racism. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's maybe a topic for another day from a personal experience. But yeah, it's Joe. Everybody's a Joe. There's a couple of sayings in the military. One of them, or a lot of sayings, but one of them is, we all bleed red and we all wear green. Doesn't matter what you're black, you're white, Asian, Mexican, Hispanic, whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter. You're all Joes, man. You're all Joes. The guy that maybe you wouldn't have liked back on the block could be the guy that's going to save your life, right? So you learn that and you live it. You live it. Now, don't get me wrong. For a lot of the part, there was sort of the black guys that hung out together, the white guys, and there was always that, okay? But there was intermingling, and there was no hostility really between different groups of people. You might not all listen to the same music. You might not all want to go to the same place when you go out to a bar or something like that. But there was no animosity. I mean, I've staggered home from the front gate of Con Barracks after a taxi dropped me off there, back to the barracks, going down that long-ass road, Marne Drive or whatever it was. It took us back to the 364 barracks. I'd be standing next to a Mexican guy and a freaking soul brother, man, and we're all drunker than hell, staggering back to the barracks, singing a song. Like, fuck, you're in it, man. You don't think about that shit. All right. And if you think about it, if everybody served in the military, we'd probably be a much better country as far as getting along. Right. And I've got some more personal stories along that front I'll save for another day. So, yeah, that's where the term Joe came from. And in fact, when I thought of a title for these books, I thought, it's Cold War, it's a bunch of funny stories, but, we always called ourselves Joes. Your buddy comes in, he's like, oh, did you hear what happened down at, Maggie's last night? Bar in Schweifert. No, like, what happened? Oh, some fucking Joe came in there. Joe. Everybody was a fucking Joe. It was a Joe. All right. Some Joes got picked up by the MPs. Or did you hear about the 2 Joes that did this? That we're all Joes, right? So that's where it came from. Let's take another drink. Why? Because it's time. It's time. I think it's actually like 1:30 in the afternoon. Here. The things I do for you guys. Really, I'm doing it for you, not for me. Damn, that's good. You know, I heard and I've got to verify this, but I think my Class 6, my liquor store, my guys down at Max's Bottle Shop, unpaid promo here. Maybe I should get them to pay me. My guys down at Max's Bottle Shop told me that the double char Bib and Tucker was kind of a limited thing. Don't know if that's true, but I'm going to take their word for it. They would know. So hoping I might need to stock up on this Tennessee 10 because it's really good, man. Bib and Tucker, Tennessee 10. Finally, we got a question here from a lost civilian. Okay. Why does it seem that soldiers are obsessed with pranks? Pranks in particular. Well, I mean, you have to break the Joe hijinks down, right? Maybe into buckets, if you think about that, right? One is certainly pranks. I mean, we pranked each other a lot. And you have to break it down into that, maybe stupid shit that they did on their own. These books are full of those stories. And yeah, I mean, it's probably pranks and just stupid shit that we did. So, you know, the thing about, you remember when you were a kid, or maybe you know this as an adult, when they say that, you know, when you're a kid and a boy is mean to a girl, it's because he really likes the girl, right? And I've heard it go the other way too, where if the girl is picking on the boy, it's really because she has a crush on him. But I think it's more so a boy to a girl. We do it as a sign of affection and respect more than anything. Like we prank people, and we know we're going to get pranked back, by the way. You know, when you're wearing the uniform, living in a barracks full of, you know, a couple hundred other guys back then, guys and gals, I suppose. But you know, you're trying to get a laugh, man. It almost goes back to the letter from whatever fuck her name was, Olivia. You got to decompress, man. How do you decompress? You laugh. You have a good time. You push the edge of the envelope, right? You go out there, man. So yeah, we pranked each other a lot. But we always knew when we pranked someone, there was a very strong likelihood that we were going to be on the receiving end of it. In fact, the story that she mentioned that, like, I'm sorry, what did she say? Made her nauseous. Okay? Believe me, it made me fucking nauseous too. That story was because I pranked some guys, man. They're going to get you back. I mean, and it's not in a fuck you kind of way, right? It's more of a, I can one up that. Okay. It wasn't, you know, there was no hostility involved in it. You know, we did it out of respect and out of leveling the playing field too. You know, if I prank you and you don't prank me back, I don't want to say I'm going to lose respect for you, but other people might lose respect for you. Right. So it was all give and take. Right. So no. And you know, we're bored. We have this, you train for 1,000 hours for 10 minutes of craziness. That's kind of the old saying. But you train. You go into the field. And look, I was over there as a young private. I didn't have a family over there. Wasn't married at the time. Didn't have kids in tow. You know, that whole thing. But a lot of people that I was stationed with did. Certainly the NCOs, there was a fair number of them that were married, had kids, and so on. You know, that's a lot of strain on your family, man. You're stressed out about it, man. Your wife's giving you shit at home. Oh man, you're going to the field again. Or you get a phone call in the middle of the night that you've got an alert and you got to roll out, and you know, that's a lot of shit to ask of the families, right? So the whole thing was stressful as shit. So you had to balance it with, if we did not have the opportunity to prank each other, or to go off and let our hair down and get crazy, right? We would have probably fucking imploded. I would have imploded. I mean, that's just kind of it in a nutshell, guys. At any rate, that's it for this episode of the Booze Briefing. Remember, aim straight, drink crooked, and remember, keep your future stories worth telling, because one day you might want to write a couple of books about them. All right? With that, Rock of the Morn, Rampage, and we pierce.
Dismissed!